Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, college football fans, Ohio State fans across the nation and around the world. This is Tim May with the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall. Clay, can you hear me, Clay? We're in a link-up situation here.
Yeah, a little Zoom link for a little postpartum on the Buckeyes. What a win, and went a long way to get that dub. Tim, you were there. Let me ask you, what was that atmosphere like? Can I ask that right off the bat?
Absolutely. It was frenzied, to say the least. But I'll tell you what, Clay, is you'll hear Caden Curry say, and in a little interview coming up, Caden Curry had his best game yet as a collegian, but he paid homage to the Ohio State fans in attendance. I'm thinking there were at least 10,000 Ohio State fans there, if not more. And
wow.
When they got ready to sing Carmen, Ohio after the game, I took a video and posted it just zooming around the stadium while they were singing. It was stunning how many Ohio State fans were there. I mean, Buckeye Nation, man, I keep reminding people, it is the real deal, right?
Oh, it's incredible. I saw your video, and when you mentioned Caden Curry, it just brings a smile to my face. You know, he said in the post, hey, we're just a bunch of no-names trying to do the best we can.
Yeah.
And he had the day. We've all known about him, but, the stat line is just so impressive, Tim. I'm looking 11 tackles, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. He just did his thing, as did the defense, and we talked a little bit about this. Just their ability to keep Damon Williams in the mousetrap. They would not go so far up the field that they overran him. He just really had no escape hatch. And I think that's a big, big part of the win. We know they gave up the one big play, that 34-yard run. Maybe I missed some. I've been in and out on my family here. But it's huge. Another brick in the wall. And to do it out there, as you said, 8,000 Buckeye fans among 72,000 overall. I'm glad you were there. I'm glad it was your 4th or 5th trip and I'm glad you got to see it.
Yep.
What else, I guess, stood out to you maybe?
Well, I want to make this point too. Because obviously that game is done with, but Ryan Day and his staff made a huge point about treating it as a regular game. I asked him getting off the bus we're at their hotel the day before after they did their workout, little walkthrough workout, best Fridays in football. But does it feel like more like one of these exotic trips you take in the preseason sometimes when you go to the West, in the old days when you go to the West Coast, or you might go south or whatever, but usually West Coast or East Coast. And as opposed to it being a Big Ten, not just a Big Ten game, but a Big Ten opener. And he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, basically said it was just they're trying to treat it as much like a regular game as possible in terms of it being a Big Ten opener. Yeah, you went as far as you can go, as far as Ohio State can travel in the Big Ten to play that opener now, the new revamped Big Ten with 18 teams, 4 on the West Coast. But the bottom line was, what they did worked. And I keep reminding people, this, because it was a big weekend and there were all these experts predicting upset, upset for the Buckeyes based on they thought Washington was a sleeping giant. Washington had won 22 straight games at Husky Stadium, including making a run to the national championship game 2 years ago. But the bottom line is it was a tough place. It's a tough place to go in, a tough place to play. And all those people are now, eating crow because Ohio State ended up being, no matter where you looked, it was either a 7 or 9 point favorite before the game started. And they won the game handily. And here's the thing, Clay, I know you were watching, but right off the bat, they drove right down the field. First, they forced a punt. Just the 3rd punt by Washington this season. They forced a punt. And then they took that short field position because the guy looked like he wasn't used to punting. And they took the short field position, drove all the way down to the 1 yard line, went for it. Since C.J. Donaldson off left tackle there, the same play they ran against Texas for the first touchdown and got stoned. And then, of course, they force another punt from Washington. This time, Brandon Ennis takes off on like an 18, 20-yard return, but at the end of it, he fumbles. So that was Ohio State's start. Ohio State only had possession of the ball once in the first quarter.
Exactly.
And so it made it frustrating start. But, bottom line is they spotted Washington a 3-0 lead. And then that touchdown play just before halftime to Jeremiah Smith crossing route, underneath drag, right down the line of scrimmage, takes a perfect pass from Julian Sayin and cuts it up for a touchdown. Like I said, it was like watching a freight train turn a corner. I mean, it was, and so I've got a little bit of sound coming up in a minute from CJ Donaldson talking about that tough start, but what that play by who he called the alien, Jeremiah Smith, meant to the start, meant to the team. And then also more sound coming up from Caden Curry about the Ohio State fans in attendance, but about his day. Like you pointed out a while ago, his 5 tackles for loss ties an Ohio State single game record. That's crazy, isn't it?
Wow. No kidding. And it's Caden squared too. I don't want to leave out Caden McDonald, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and a big hug from Matt Patricia post game there on the field. Yeah, I mean, I would just kind of just laud over this defense over and over and over again. But I think the offense did that incremental thing. Another huge play, as you said, they got nothing. They got nothing out of the first quarter on the board, and yet they win the game by 18. They go 60% on third down. Another big stat. And I give Cardell Jones, he's now talking in New York, and he's like, this young man, Julian Sayin, is growing up before our eyes. And I know it makes Ryan Day proud that he's coming along, didn't take a lot of chances. But as you said, once Ford gets the ball with a head of steam, who is going to stop the alien? And I don't want to, that's derogatory. I don't want to call him the alien.
Well, CJ Donaldson called him the alien.
Okay, all right. That's cool. I
thought it was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
He did look like something other than a worldly being, I guess,
yes,
at times.
I give you that. I give you that. But they get only 234 yards, Washington. I checked the stats. They're averaging, after that game, still 462 yards a game. Yeah. I mean, they put the clamps on them, and again, Sonny Styles had a game. I mean, Arvell Reese, IGB came up big a couple of times. So it's big. And I know they got back late, and those trips are long, and they take it out of you. But at least, Tim May, for you and I, it's a home game on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, IGB, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you not in on the code, IGB is Davis and Igbinosun. But you're right. I mean, Washington had a few spurts. They did kick 2 field goals, so they did score twice. But Clay, we're sitting here now, 4 games into the Ohio State season, number 1 Ohio State seasons. The reigning national champion. They don't like defending national champion, and I understand that. I know where they're coming from, where Ryan Day's coming from on that, because you're not taking that one away. That belt right. is in the trophy case. But Ohio State has given up 2 touchdowns in 4 games.
Yeah.
Where this is, granted, it's only 4 games into the year, but this is definitely trending toward historic values, at least when it comes to Ohio State football, right? And as I was remarking to you a couple of weeks ago, it's fun. It's fun to watch Ohio State play defense. Isn't that crazy?
It is. You just kind of, what's next? What are they going? It just the way they frustrated Damon Williams and just didn't give him any, as I said, escape hatch and ability to get out of the pocket, because we had seen that young man against UC Davis, against Colorado State, against Washington State, kind of just do what he wanted to do. And that's not going to happen against this defense. Yeah.
But so I think it's as you just ripped it off there, against who is what I would have said.
Yeah.
No,
well, true.
Yeah. It wasn't a who's who, that's for sure, of college football. That's why my thoughts going into this game were, but I thought it'd be a higher scoring game. I thought it might be a 41-21 game. I pretty much got the spread right. But
Right.
but now, you got to get up this Ohio State defense now. Now, who knows? They may give up an opening drive to Minnesota for a touchdown. You don't know what's going to happen from week to week, right? I mean,
Yeah.
definitely Washington had some chances to prolong drives, but I think you can look this stat up. I don't have it right in front of me, even though I should. I think Ohio State only gave up 1 third down conversion to Washington, with the team that was leading the nation in third down conversions going into the game. No matter who you're playing against, that's remarkable. And
it is. Let me ask you, because you jumped on the Bo Jackson bandwagon, or whatever you call it, pretty soon. Ohio State rushes for 149. He has 80 of those. And again, he proves he's got something special. Did you see it that way, Tim?
Oh, yeah. What I see that's special about him is, like, he reminds me just from this point, he reminds me of Zeke Elliott and Carlos Snow and some of these other great backs from the past, in that he literally never loses a yard. Or if he does, it's because he's gotten hit in the backfield, but he's always falling forward. You understand what I'm saying? But he finds a way to make a gain no matter what. Go ahead.
My brother hasn't seen much of the Buckeyes, and he said the exact same thing when he saw, I said, watch this kid run. He goes, you know what he looks like? Zeke, because he's always falling forward.
Correct.
He picked up on it right away. Yeah, and again, he's your second half back, as you pointed out, against OU.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, let's get to the sound first. Let's get back to the homage to Caden Curry, just about, the fans who showed up there for that game from Ohio State. And, a lot of the players, many of the players took time after they sang Carmen, Ohio, to like mingle with the fans a little bit, they were all in the stands, but to mingle a little bit and thank them for coming, et cetera. It was really pretty cool, because I'm telling you, it's still remarkable to me. It's kind of like watching the movie Hoosiers, where the whole team goes out of town with the team, follows the bus. But I know it's not like that totally. But I mean, even last night when I was at the when I was seeing some folks outside, I was getting dinner and stuff. It's stunning how many Ohio State fans were mingling in this city, this huge city, Seattle.
And think of the expense of that, 8,000 people, and what they're putting into that 3 or 4 day excursion. They don't care, that they will follow them to the ends of the earth.
Yes. Or at least to the ends of the United States.
There you go.
Hey, let's get I'll cue up, we'll cue up this video. Tim Ham, our producer, hopefully will throw it in here at this very moment. And it's of Caden Curry talking about the support that this team got, and then also talking about his day and the day of the defensive line, not the least of which was the play of Caden McDonald, who, I think Ohio State had 5 sacks in this game. I'm trying to remember the number of sacks. Might have been 7 sacks in this game. Yeah. Caden had 2 of them, and
Caden had 3.
Caden McDonald had 2, and Caden Curry had 3. The Cadens came to play. But let's get to that sound with Caden Curry.
Out there with you guys on the defensive line, especially getting after this quarterback.
First and foremost, just seeing Ohio State fans out there, you saw Sea Red, and when it was supposed to be a crazy atmosphere, and just seeing all of them was a great atmosphere to see. And I feel like we just took accountability of our actions today, and we just make the plays when the numbers called.
Caden, you tied Ohio State's record today at 5 tackles for loss. Just what does that mean to you?
Yeah.
I honestly didn't know that, but honestly, it's truly a blessing, and I just got to thank the man upstairs for that.
What was the defensive strategy to keep Damon Williams hemmed in so he couldn't scramble? And he played a lot of passes, but didn't do a lot of damage. What was kind of the strategy?
Honestly, just the way we practiced all week. We knew we were playing a great athlete and a great playmaker, so we knew we had to contain the quarterback, and we knew we had to do our job. And honestly, plays just come off of that. When you cage the pocket that well, he's going to come to you eventually.
When you got a mobile quarterback like that, does that motivate you more as a defense at all? Because you guys got 6 sacks. It's not easy to do against somebody who can move that well.
Yeah, definitely. You love to see the pressure put on you as a defensive line. I feel like our defensive line this year is just a bunch of no names. We just go out there and we just try to ball and we try to play as hard as we can.
What about the chemistry there that's developed between you guys?
I mean, we've been here together for 2 to 3 years now. I mean, we've definitely seen guys before us. We see the great defensive line last year, all of our guys in the NFL now, and we just learned every day off of them, and just being able to play with them and be able to learn and teach from them, and just definitely paid off.
What do you think you guys are doing well on third down?
Yeah. I've liked Caden Curry since the first time I met him. I don't know about you, Clay.
Yeah.
But number two, he has developed, man. There was somebody who tweeted in the middle of that game that he looks like a Bosa now. And the way he played, man, I was standing 5 feet from him, 8 feet from him when they were warming up, going through their warm-ups after they put their pads on Saturday in Husky Stadium. And Larry Johnson was putting them through their paces. And it was just, you could see a look in his eye. You could see it in Kenyatta Jackson's eye. You could see it in Caden McDonald's eye. There was just something going on there. And of course, Tywan Malone played extremely well. Edric Houston had an unfortunate penalty, but he played extremely well. Those three defensive tackles there in the middle. Will Smith Jr. played well. Right on down the line. And, it's funny. I walked up to Larry Johnson standing on the field after the game. He had his back to him, and I said, excuse me. I said, man, the defensive line coach for this team must be really good. And he turned around and he went like this. He went, shh. Because Larry, man, he's not big on the publicity, but we all know through the several years, how many factions have said he's past his prime, time to move on. Well, this defensive line's coming on, brother. You agree?
Yeah, no doubt. I remember you saying that a month or two ago about how many wanted him out, and yet he keeps turning them out. Just a bunch of no names, as Caden Curry said. And this defense is it's starting to distinguish itself, and it will have to as you get to Illinois and you get to Indiana and you get to Penn State. There's a lot left to accomplish, certainly the season ender. So what are we, 4 games in? We're at, 30, I think the fraction would be 33%. Yeah, something like that. Well, at least for the regular season. So Minnesota's coming off a win over Rutgers, but I'm sure you've got more sound that you'd want to share, I guess.
Yeah. Before you take this train totally off the track, I'm going to get back on the track a little bit. No, just a little bit.
All right.
One rail. We're on one rail now, but I did want to play this sound from CJ Donaldson because I asked him about the getting down there and not punching it in. Of course, he scored later, obviously, right?
Yeah, caught the pass. Yeah.
But the bottom line is I think he had a running touchdown. Anyway. But the bottom line was it was a clunky start. It wasn't a slow start by any stretch because they went right down the field. But then also, his comment when I asked him about what did it mean to see Jeremiah Smith, who a lot of people think is the best offensive player in the country this year, Ohio State's wide receiver, see him catch that little drag route over the middle, perfect pass from Julian Sayin, who hit him in stride. Julian Sayin standing there right in the teeth of a blitz and delivering the pass. You talk about Cardell Jones, talk about the way he's maturing. Absolutely. But, he's always, as his high school coach told me, Thad McNeil, since he's known him, he's always been a cool customer. It's just now other people are starting to see it. But the way it's not just that Washington blitz like Ohio State thought it would in that situation inside, in the red zone, but that he saw it all coming and then had the coolness to stand there and deliver a strike to Jeremiah Smith, who then cut it up for a touchdown. And it was a cool play all the way around. But let's listen to CJ Donaldson and what he thought just about their start and about Jeremiah Smith.
Down there, but couldn't punch it in. And then, of course, there was the fumble on the kickoff return. Y'all didn't get the ball back. What did y'all get straight, you think, in that second quarter, especially that end of the second quarter drive, CJ?
Definitely on that 4th and 1, I got to do a better job getting my pads down. That's something, I got to continue to work on. Coach, they always tell us weather the storm. So I think that's something we did as a team. We weathered the storm very well, and, we responded quickly.
What is it like to see, and then Jeremiah catches that drag route over the middle, and like I said, it looked like a freight train turning upfield. What does that just do for the whole team to have a a player like that make a play like that.
Man, that alien give us some juice, man. That guy different. He work hard every day. He push us, each and every day, to be our best. He just always bring that, that juice. He's a South Florida guy, so he's got that swagger to him.
CJ, like having
Cut. Yeah, insert the CJ Donaldson video here, Tim Ham. And we're going to be coming back in 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, that alien comment, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I ask questions and people say the most interesting things, but I don't know why that works like that. Maybe I'm part alien, but the bottom line is CJ, man, transfer from West Virginia. Here's the thing, Clay, you've been around teams as much as I have. Even the players on the team know who's really special, right?
No, without question.
In basketball, who to get the ball to when you need a bucket, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Who to get the pass to when you need a slam dunk to really put it on. Ohio State was desperately trying to just grab the momentum in that game because it seemed fleeting for them just when they make a play. I mean, they had all kinds of penalties in that game. I mean, I was driving, I'm sure, Ryan Day crazy. Several big penalties in wrong situations.
Yeah, they had 5, I think.
But the way they persevered, the way the Buckeyes persevered. But then bottom line is, like I brought up the movie Hoosiers a while ago, remember that great scene where Gene Hackman has them all gathered around. He's designing this play they're going to run at the end of the state championship game. And he looks around and goes, what's wrong? What's wrong?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you guys? And then Jimmy Chitwood leans in and goes, I'll make it. Hey, as I had just texted Graham Rahal, one of the more worrisome Ohio State fans there is, he goes, what's wrong? What's going on? I said, nothing that can't be fixed by them throwing the ball to number 4. So, and then right after that, boom, touchdown. So I'm not I'm not trying to be like I see things. I'm a psychic. I mean, some things are quite obvious, but it was cool to see that play, right?
Oh, it's almost like it's predestined. But you're exactly right. He's the franchise in many ways, and Washington knew it, and they put the clamps on him early. And but he ended up with 8 catches, a lot in the second half. So credit to him, and credit to the offense for finding a way to break him loose a little bit, because we know he can take it to, he can house it at any time. So good for him because I know you had talked about with him earlier this week about some of the frustration of being that marked man, and yet he came up big. That was huge. That was really a big touchdown.
Absolutely. And by the way, Cardinal Tate had some big catches that game. The Buckeyes threw the ball to the running backs out of the backfield. I think 9 Buckeyes caught passes in that game. They mixed and matched it a lot like I thought they would. Because I'm going to tell you something, Washington's a good team. It's not a great team, but Washington's a good team. And they were on the road, one of the more hostile places in America, tempered pretty much by the number of Ohio State fans who were also there. Because I'm telling you, it seemed like sometimes some of the cheers for the Buckeyes, because it was an open press box, some of the cheering for the Buckeyes seemed as loud as it did for the Huskies. Maybe it's because there was more to cheer about for the Buckeyes. What, you think that's it?
Yeah, especially as the tide began to turn and they began to kind of milk that clock late too, and put it away. Yeah. So, big win, no doubt.
And by the way, Jeremiah Smith, who tied Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was on hand for the game, because obviously
that's right.
The Seahawks had played on Thursday night, and he'd had some big plays and also a big penalty in that game. And bottom line is, I thought that was a bogus call against him in that game, but that's another story. But the bottom line, he was on hand. But the irony of that is Jeremiah Smith tied Jackson Smith and Jigba's. I don't know if it's a record, it's a pace.
Yes.
What a game. It was cool to watch. There were some record-tying, record-pacing performances in that game. Now the Buckeyes move into the Game 5 mode. As the old saying goes by the Buckeyes, the best thing about being 4-0 is a chance to go 5-0, and they take on Minnesota. Any last thoughts before we move on, Clay?
No, I'm glad you were there. Yeah, I hate that I couldn't join you. Other developments here in the Southeast with my folks, but yeah, anxious to get back home and see what the Bucks have in store for the Gophers. Thanks for letting me chime in today.
Yeah, and I'm going to let you chime in one more time. You lost your father the end of last week. That's why you're in South Carolina.
Yeah.
You're there with your mother and your
Right.
brother. Just in a nutshell, can you give us a feeling of what your dad? Well, you didn't have to be a nutshell. What your dad meant to you in your life?
Well, I wasn't here. My dad had been in hospice for a bit, and the day I called my brother just to get the update, he had just passed, and so I wasn't here. My mom is also in challenged health, and she wasn't right beside him. So when I got down here, we went to the funeral home, and the gentleman said, would you like to, take a look at your dad and your husband? And my mom, who was kind of torn because she wanted to remember him in different ways, but we did. Yeah. And they brought him out in a room off to the side. He was draped in an American flag. He was a veteran.
Yep.
And so we had a few moments, and my mom said a prayer, and my brother and she were leaving, and I lingered for a few moments there.
Take your time, man.
Yeah, so my brother and I had talked with him previously, and we had no regrets. And so it was that last little look. And so we planned today, Tim, just so you kind of know my itinerary now. My mom wants to take the ashes and bury him in the little town where they grew up in Mississippi. So that's kind of our plan midweek. And we'll have certainly a lot of family there. And my mom really she wants to do it now. And she doesn't want that hanging over her head. And she had a lot of anxiety about this ashes and where it's going to be, et cetera. At any rate, so at midweek, we'll be in that area, and then I'll come on home after that. It's funny because you just start telling stories about your family and your parents, and we've told a lot of funny ones. And when my dad will be cremated, so when they brought him out, his hair was just all over the place. And I said to my mom, I said, I can just hear him saying, Clay, get me that comb right now. And he would just, because he thought he was quite handsome. He had this Roman nose he used to talk about. At any rate, I kind of wanted to go over there and fix it a little bit. But 92 years, he had quite a run. So very thankful to be his son.
Hey, by the way, when my dad passed, somebody made the comment, he was 80, he was 86. But somebody made the comment, well, you had him around, man. You got bonus time. You had him around for a long time. And I said, my line back to them was, yeah, we kind of got used to having him around. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, exactly right.
You never like parting with your parents, both got them. You enjoy them as long as you got them. And, and like you just pointed out, the best thing I always tell people in situations like this is, man, just throw in, just hang on those positive memories, man. Those great memories you have of your dad taking you to a ball game or taking you to get a candy bar, or taking you to school, whatever it was. I mean, those are the ones that float you, man, through these tough times. And by the way, it sure looked like Mississippi State was playing in his honor on Saturday against Tennessee, man. They almost pulled another upset.
We're competitive. We're back in the mix. I never thought it would be that close, frankly. So, Jeff Levy, come on, brother.
Just think if you'd grown up an Ohio State fan, how spoiled you'd be right now, brother.
That's right. Yeah, that's the truth.
But hey, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for Clay Hall, I'm Tim May, and we'll have several more of these episodes the rest of this week. But Ohio State, Yeah, we're zeroed in on the number one team in the country because it's the biggest story going around, in my opinion. Obviously, Penn State lost another heartbreaker, James Franklin heartbreaker to Oregon. Just when it looked like they were going to pull it out with a big-time comeback, Oregon flipped the script in overtime, and that was that. And, of course, Alabama, giving up for dead, kicked to the curb after that loss to Florida State, goes into Athens and beats Kirby Smart's a Kirby Smart coached Georgia team for the 10th time in 11 meetings.
It's
Dude,
amazing.
that's crazy. Clay, that's
is
crazy, right?
Considering the excellence of both of those programs and Georgia's run in the recent years, son, 10
Yes.
of 11. That is
Yes.
owning your next door neighbor.
That's right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of owning, Clay Hall and I, we lay claim to this podcast. And until next time, for the Tim May Show featuring Clay Hall, we'll see you then.